Today we take up A Taste of Armageddon.
Compliance, the final frontier. Tom Fox is the voyager of trekking through compliance. His mission? To explore the original series and seek out and share what it can teach you about compliance. Here's your host, Tom Fox.
Today we take up A Taste of Armageddon, which aired on February 23, 1967 and occurred on Stardate 3192.1. The Enterprise is en route to Star Cluster NGC 321 to open up diplomatic relations with the civilizations there, including the planet Eminiar VII, the principal planet of the Star Cluster. However, Eminiar VII sends a code 710 signal telling the Enterprise not to approach under any circumstances. The Federation knows very little about Eminiar VII except that it has had space travel for several centuries but never ventured out beyond its own solar system. The Federation also knows that when Eminiar VII was first contacted, it was at war with Vendikar, its closest neighbor. However, the Federation ship making the report was never returned and was listed as lost in space. Kirk, Spock, and other members of the crew beam down and are met by a security attachment who takes them to Anan VII, the members of the High Council. Anan VII claims Eminiar VII has been at war with Vendikar for 500 years, although there is no evidence of warfare to the landing party who witnessed a fusion bomb attack. Unfortunately, the Enterprise is declared destroyed by a tri-cobalt satellite explosion from Vendikar, and all persons aboard the Enterprise are ordered to report for a disintegration within 24 hours. Kirk and the landing party are held hostage. Anan VII tries to trick the Enterprise into sending its crew down, but are unable to do so. Then Kirk and Spock escape and destroy one of the disintegration stations. Anan VII orders the planet to open fire on the Enterprise, but Scotty has taken the Enterprise out of range. The ambassador aboard the Enterprise beams down, and he's almost disintegrated, but he is saved by Kirk and Spock. They disintegrate more disintegration chambers and then capture Anan VII and the rest of the High Council. Faced with the consequences of real war, Ambassador Fox offers to mediate the negotiations, and that concludes the story. An interesting factoid from this episode is that Eminiar used sonic weapons against the Enterprise. The episode was consistent with weapons being sonic because the Enterprise easily moved out of range. Your first thought was that the sonic weapons might be inane to use against spacecraft due to sound not traveling in a vacuum. However, it makes more sense today than when the first episode aired. Think about this in terms of a video game. Players don't use weapons that make sense in real life. They use whatever is best set by the rules of the game. If sonic weapons are the only anti-ship weapons worth using in the rules of the situation or simulation, then people of Eminiar might think that they are a good idea to use in reality. Because they don't know reality, they only know the rules of the simulation, which is what we had here. Today I want to take a look at some of the business ethics lessons from this episode, A Taste of Armageddon. I believe they can be very impactful for compliance professionals seeking to strengthen the integrity of their own organization. So I've got 6 for you today. Number 1, prioritize human rights and dignity. Compliance frameworks must be anchored in an unwavering commitment to respecting the fundamental rights, freedoms, and well-being of all stakeholders, including employees, customers, and the broader community. This should be a non-negotiable principle that supersedes narrow financial interests. Number 2, Embed corporate responsibility. Compliance teams should work to ingrain a strong sense of corporate social responsibility into the organization's decision-making processes and overall culture. This means consistently evaluating the social and environmental impacts of business activities and proactively addressing any potential harms. Number 3, foster transparency and accountability. Compliance functions should champion the establishment of robust systems of transparency, disclosure, and external oversight, a second set of eyes. This could include measures like independent audits, stakeholder engagement forums, and clear grievance mechanisms. The goal is to eliminate any ability to obstruct unethical practices. Number 4, encourage ethical leadership and adaptability. Compliance training and performance management should prioritize cultivating ethical leadership qualities, such as humility, empathy, and the ability to challenge the status quo. Leaders must demonstrate the ability, or agility rather, to evolve their practices in response to changing circumstances and emerging risks. Number 5, empower employees to speak up. Compliance programs should create safe, accessible channels for employees to voice concerns about unethical activities or organizational blind spots. This speak-up culture is crucial for surfacing issues before they escalate into major crises. Number 6, conduct proactive risk assessments. Compliance teams should regularly undertake comprehensive risk assessments to identify potential ethical pitfalls or harm stakeholders. Scenario planning and stress testing can also help prepare the organization to adapt quickly and appropriately. By applying these ethical business lessons from A Taste of Armageddon, compliance professionals can help build organizations that are not only financially successful, but also fundamentally grounded in ethical principles. This dual focus on profits and integrity is essential for cultivating long-term, sustainable business practices that truly benefit all stakeholders of an organization. I hope you will join me tomorrow where we take up this side of paradise.
If you enjoyed this episode of Trekking Through Compliance, you can help it grow by sharing it with the biggest Trek fan you know.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.